Games should be priced by the hour. That is the claim being made by Strauss Zelnick. I assume that's his name. Who is the CEO of Take-Two Interactive, apparently working on the next GTA game. Which, of course, is actually one of the games that I think really popularized open world was GTA 3. Really a monumental game, and as far as making that the sort of sandbox open world game something of a thing. And a very fun game. I quite enjoyed Vice City, GTA 3. During an earnings call, he expressed this stance. Let me read it for you in terms of pricing for any entertainment property. Basically, the algorithm is the value of the expected entertainment usage, which is to say, the per hour value times the number of expected hours, plus the terminal value that is perceived by the customer in ownership, actually owning the game rather than renting or subscribing to it. And you'll see that bears out in every kind of entertainment vehicle. By our standards, our Frontline price is still very, very low because we offer many hours of engagement. So, basically, he's basically defending his $70 price point. I think the big thing is they're getting some heat for making their game $70 an hour. But I think that is actually going to be pretty common as inflation continues to be very high. You're going to see a lot of game makers wanting to price their stuff at $70 a game. I think even if you look back at some of the older, like even the Super Nintendo days, and you adjust for inflation, video games were very expensive. They were like $70, maybe even more. You really adjust for inflation, so it's not like $70 is crazy for a video game. Unfortunately, back in the day when we were playing, for a video game, we were getting stuff like Super Metroid, Chrono Trigger. We were getting games like that, Super Mario World. Well, I think that came packaged with the Super Nintendo, but we were getting some classics, some greatest of all time video games. I mean, Donkey Kong Country 2. Those games are just phenomenal. I don't know about GTA 6. The question is, do you want to pay $70 for a soulless pile of garbage? Which I'm not gonna. Maybe Grand Theft Auto 6 will be great. You never know. But that is one of the questions coming in with the value per hour. And I think this is the issue, is value per hour is a terrible metric for a game. Not because, it's a simple metric, not because the algorithm is bad. You saying like, hey, I got this many hours of good entertainment from this video game, so therefore it's a good value. That's not necessarily wrong. The problem is that it leads to really bad design. Doesn't encourage, because I assume most developers, if they go down this route, if they think, hey, we got to give, the casual fan, if we're having a $70 game, we need to give them 70 hours of entertainment. That's just a good 1-to-1 ratio here. They're saying, oh, I'm getting such a great value. I'm getting $1 per hour value for our game. So what that leads to is a bunch of side missions that are boring, a bunch of filler, a bunch of just ways to extend these play sessions per time. We got to get them coming back each day, and of course, that then they can work that into some DLC to get some extra value out of the player that way. So then it just leads to a bloated game that is still entertaining. It's still good enough rather than just a phenomenal game, which I think is one of the problems with a lot of entertainment today is you never feel like, wow, this is really good. It's just like, it's pretty good. It's decent. It's not bad. It's competently done. And that is games like Diablo 4, where Diablo 2 was one of the greatest games of all time. If you make a top 10 list, it's going to be in that discussion more often than not. Diablo 4, I thought was a fun game. Plays pretty well, and I think it's actually getting better as it gets patched, but it's nowhere near that level of greatest of all time status. It's, it's just good enough. I think that for a lot of players, they've become kind of disenfranchised with playing, good enough games. It also doesn't really factor, when you go dollar per hour, it doesn't factor replayability into the equation. I think most people will expect, most developers expect someone plays through it once and that's it. And then, other people do add things like, say, Armored Core has S ranks, can S rank stages. You have multiple playthroughs for multiple endings. So that encourages replayability through those factors. But I assume most people are just going to play through a lot of stuff once and then just drop it from there. So if you were strictly going by dollar per hour, you wouldn't even want that. And of course, you have like some of the older style games, like I've been really enjoying some shmups lately, which are, you can play through the whole thing in 30 minutes. But the idea is that you replay it over and over again, trying to get better, trying to get, the one continue clear in, different various difficulty levels, different ranges. So they have a very tight, small, action-packed game that is meant to be played over and over and over again. And then, of course, dollar per hour, of course, if you go into competitive multiplayer, you can really get a ton of value from that. But that's mostly just the fun of playing with other people. Which, good, but not necessarily how you would want to design a game in terms of dollars per hour. And then, of course, I think this all goes to a larger problem that the industry is so big now. It's so massive, and these AAA games have multi-millions and millions of dollars worth of development costs that businessmen making the decisions instead of like people that are making the games, artists, that kind of thing. So a lot of what's affecting the models of these games isn't necessarily in the best interest of making the best game. It's making a profitable game. And that's always with art, like movies, video games, a lot of entertainment, that is going to be a factor. That's always a factor. You can't really, I don't really get too upset about that, because that is, everyone's got to make a living. Everyone's got to make money. So I don't try to let that really dampen my enjoyment of video games, but it is a factor for sure. And it's something that's always going to be there, especially when you're talking about money. But that does, I think, make an opening for a small, like small niche groups, niche companies, the indies, actually come in with smaller teams, smaller production costs, with just sort of ideas, a good idea that they expand on, and they can make some really good games. And I've seen that with a lot of games I've played, like Zomboid. You could say Minecraft started small and became gigantic. You could say, let's see, there's plenty of things like the smaller shooters that are being made today. BattleBit, really enjoyed playing BattleBit, but that's a smaller company that kind of just slowly grew. There's a lot of smaller games that aren't necessarily AAA quality, but still have a really compelling game design underneath it that ultimately makes the game funner to play than a lot of AAA games. So it still does say, not to get to this an aside, too off topic, but I think Japan has resisted a lot of this from this that I've seen from the Western developers. They're still making some really high quality games that feel like games, It seemed like they really value the actual gameplay more than, say, these stupid, we gotta have you come back every single day. We gotta have these certain perks, a lot of DLC put in. even with Capcom, like Monster Hunter, I think is still a fantastic game that still worries about like putting in a really nice game that's sort of action-packed, doesn't have a lot of useless stuff that keep you just playing for playing's sake. They will have events and stuff, and DLC, but they don't do it anywhere near the level that I see it from Western developers. There's just something about the Western developers that something just feels so fake and just so, I don't know, it's like so mercenary about some of their systems that it's just so in your face it's hard to not notice it. Anyway, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Price per hour. Is it good? Is it bad? What are your thoughts? Should games be $70 just too much for a game? Do you think you'll never enjoy a game enough for it to be worth 70 bucks of your money? All right, guys. Talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.